In today's video, we will be looking at a strange case of a man who vanished without a trace after leaving work one evening. The case was covered by the police and media outlets at the time, but it seemed to just disappear off the face of the earth. So what actually happened? Well, let's talk about that right now. This is the host. This is Unexplained. And this is the disappearance of James Bennett. On Friday, June 24th, 1983, around 6:30 p.m., James Bennett left his workplace at the Elmwood Psychiatric Center in Niagara, New York, where he had been working as a psychologist for the past year and a half. He worked there with emotionally disturbed adolescent boys and girls, which he found very rewarding. At 6:30, he drove home from work in his brown 1973 Ford Maverick. He was expected home between 7 and 7:30, but he never made it. His wife, Mary Kay, tried calling him at 8 o'clock and again at 8:30, but no answer. She assumed that he was running late and fell asleep on the couch watching TV when she didn't hear the front door open or his truck pull into the driveway. She called the Elmwood Center at 9:30 p.m., but they told her that he had left at 6:30. She then called the police. They searched the area for an hour and a half, but could not find any sign of her husband. His truck was located in the driveway of their home, but there was no sign of forced entry, and nothing appeared to be missing. It was almost as if he had just vanished. He was reported missing, and a massive search ensued. Over 100 officers and volunteers scoured the woods, fields, creeks, and roads near the Bennett's home, but found no sign of the missing man. The police also conducted hundreds of interviews and received many tips, but nothing panned out. After 2 days, the search was called off. But the mystery of what happened to James Bennett still remains unsolved to this day. What happened to James Bennett? There are so many unanswered questions surrounding this case that it's difficult to know where to start. What did James do after he left work? Why did he drive home instead of going out for dinner or drinks like he normally did? And why did he park his truck and walk away from it? Was he abducted, or did he voluntarily get into someone else's vehicle? All of these questions have generated plenty of theories over the years, but unfortunately none of them have been confirmed. One theory is that James was the victim of foul play. However, the police believe that if he had been kidnapped, they would have found some evidence of a struggle, or at least some signs of his presence in the area. In addition, they would have likely demanded a ransom, but they never did, so it seems unlikely that this was the case. Another theory is that James was having an affair and decided to run away with his lover, but this is highly unlikely, as he was very happy in his marriage and had no reason to leave his wife and 4 children. He also had no money and very few possessions when he disappeared. Yet another theory is that James was kidnapped by one of his patients. This is also unlikely because all of his patients were under the age of 18, and none of them had a history of violence or criminal behavior. Also, there were no witnesses, and no one saw anyone matching the description of any of his patients in the area at the time of his disappearance. Some people even believe that James faked his own death in order to collect on his life insurance policy or to avoid his responsibilities. However, this is also unlikely as he had no motive to do so, and he would have had to plan it out very carefully, which would have left some kind of evidence behind. One interesting lead came when a woman contacted the police claiming that she had seen James at a gas station in Florida 2 weeks after he disappeared. She said that he was hitchhiking and that he had a bandage on his left hand. But when the police checked the gas station surveillance footage, it turned out that the man in question was not James. Another strange detail is that James's truck was found unlocked with his wallet, keys, glasses, watch, and clothing in the front seat. This suggests that he left voluntarily and willingly, which contradicts the theory that he was abducted. There are also some strange similarities between this case and the disappearance of a local woman named Michelle O'Keefe, vanished without a trace in 1981. Both cases happened in the same area, and both victims were last seen driving their vehicles. However, there is no evidence that the 2 cases are connected. Another strange detail is that a witness reported seeing a man resembling James walking along a country road near where his truck was found. However, this was never confirmed, and there is no evidence that this man was James. One of the most disturbing theories is that James was the victim of a ritualistic killing. This is based on the fact that his body has never been found, and that some of his personal belongings were never recovered. However, there is no evidence to support this theory, and it is purely speculative. So what really happened to James Bennett? We may never know for sure, but the truth is that his disappearance remains one of the greatest mysteries in Niagara's history. If you have any information about this case, please contact the authorities. And one thing I'd like to point out is that there are many other cases like this one, where a person simply vanishes without a trace. These cases are often referred to as missing persons cold cases. They are typically very difficult to solve due to the lack of evidence. However, there are some organizations that are dedicated to helping families find answers in these cases. For example, the DOE Network is a national organization that helps families of missing persons who have gone missing for more than a year. They offer a variety of resources, including a website, a database of missing persons, and a network of volunteers who can help with the search efforts. Similarly, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System is a national clearinghouse and resource center for missing, unidentified, and victimized persons. NamUs provides a centralized location for law enforcement, victim advocates, and the general public to access information about missing persons cases. They also offer a variety of tools and resources to help with the search efforts. If you or someone you know is dealing with the aftermath of a missing persons case, please reach out to one of these organizations for help. They can provide valuable resources and support during this difficult time. So there you have it, the unsolved disappearance of James Bennett. If you have any information about this case, please contact the authorities. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And remember to join us every Friday for a new episode. Till then, stay safe and happy hunting.